Greetings of the day. On behalf of Department of Mechanical Engineering, College of Engineering Pune, I welcome you all for academic year 2021 and I wish you all the best for the first semester. The course which I am going to teach is quality control, which is half part of the main course, which is metrology and quality control. So the teaching, learning and evaluation for quality control part includes the theory lecture of 4 hours per week. The examination scheme includes the attendance and quiz for 5 marks, data analysis for a case study as an assignment for 20 marks, which has to be performed in the group of 2, and INSEM examination will be for 25 marks. So the syllabus for this particular subject includes the 3 units. The first unit is Introduction to Quality and Quality Tools, so where we are going to introduce the term quality, quality control, the various dimensions of quality, the statements with which the quality is defined, cost of quality, value of quality, Deming cycle, 14 points, Juran trilogy approach, 7 quality tools, introduction to N7 tools, quality circles, criteria for quality award, that is national and international level, and with respect to the Pune University we are going to study in the first unit. The second unit is related to statistical quality control, where we are going to introduce what is statistical quality control with the basic statistical concepts, the various graphs as frequency graph, concept of variance analysis, control chart for variables, that is X and R chart, which is nothing but the mean and range chart, and for the attributes it is P and C chart. Then the process capabilities with the indices CP, CPK and PPK. Then the statistical process control using some numerical treatment, where we are going to judge the process of inspection with respect to the control limits, and we are going to plot the graph. And the last part is production part approval method, which is known as PPAP. In the last unit, the acceptance sampling will be studied, where the sampling inspection, OC curve and its characteristics, sampling methods, sampling plan, single and double with the numerical treatment plans can be we are going to study. The comparison of plans as single, double and multiple approaches with this calculation of sample size, AOQ and probability of acceptance, some of the numerical treatment is also included. So the reference books for quality controls are, the first book is by Harrison and Godfrey by the Wiley publication. The title of book is Modern Methods for Quality Control and Improvement. Then the next book is by I.C. Gupta. The title is Engineering Metrology by Dhanpatrai Publications. We can refer to the latest edition of this particular book. The third book is R.K. Jain, that is Engineering Metrology by Khanna Publication itself. Then the fourth book is by Juran J.M. The title is Quality Handbook by Tata McGraw-Hill Publications, and the last book can be referred as SP Grant, as Statistical Quality Control for the second unit, particularly by Tata McGraw-Hill Publication itself. So the course outcomes, that is at the end of the course, student will be able to they will have an ability to apply knowledge of various statistical tools and techniques used to determine the geometry and dimensions of components of engineering applications, the ability to perform experiments as well as analyze the and interpret the data, an ability to design the gauges to meet desirable needs and within the realistic constraints, and to understand the quality control techniques and their respective applications in engineering industry. So let us start with the introduction. The statistical quality control includes the three terms. The first term is statistical, second term is quality, and third term is control. So as we know that statistics is a branch of mathematics which deals with collection of data, organization of data, analysis, interpretation, presentation for solving the various problems. Now, since it starts with the collection of the data, it can be done by various surveys or literature reviews or assessments or evaluation and similar kind of criteria. So first step in the statistics is considered as collection of data. Then the second step is considered as organization of data, because the data which has been collected by various methods may not have the same distribution, or we can say organization. So organization of this particular data with respect to the orders as ascending order or descending order, or with respect to the sequence with which the data has been collected, need to be organized in well manner. So the various types of organizations of data will be included in the subsequent slides. Then the next is analysis. Once the data is organized with good manner, the data can be analyzed by calculating various statistical parameters as mean, mode, median, standard deviation, and so on. Then once we calculate these parameters, which is called as analysis, we can plot the these parameters with the help of graphs, which will be easier to interpret the inferences, or we can say the conclusion which we can draw from this particular graphs. So this is nothing but the presentation of data for solving the problem. So statistical quality control is a technique which uses statistical approach by means of which products of uniform quality are produced. This can be done by controlling the manufacturing process, by continuous inspection and the monitoring. So it is assumed that the manufacturing process, any kind of manufacturing process which is used to manufacture the products, obviously prone to any kind of defects or the failures, or we can say the faults, which reflects or which affects the various performance parameters, and obviously if it is the case, the quality of product will be reduced. So basically when statistical technique is applied to control the quality, it is called as statistical quality control. So basically it prevents the production of defective parts instead of rejecting them after the production during the final inspection. Each manufacturing process and its products are subjected to variation, as I already said. If we consider a mass production, particularly mass produced products can never be all alike. Like if you consider the products from the mass production department or the approach, you will find that there will be 100% deviation or variation in the quality of a product which has been mass produced. So hence for such kind of applications, statistical analysis and application of it is very important. So instead of aiming to achieve the absolute perfection, the aim of statistical quality control is to reduce the variety so that parts produced lie within the control limits. So whenever we study any kind of statistical parameter as mean or median or standard deviation or any kind of statistical parameter, we need to define the control limits, that is upper control limit and lower control limit, within which the the readings, or we can say the observations of product should fall, so that we can say your statistic. So if the observations are fall between, if they fall between the upper control limit and lower control limit, we can say your process is in the statistical control. So the parts are inspected as they are produced and the results checked against the control limits. So as soon as the product tends to go out of the control limits, suitable steps are initiated to change the manufacturing parameters so that the products being produced later stay within the allowable limits. So now if we see the objectives of statistical control, it includes the very first objective as to produce the component of acceptable quality, to reduce the scrap and reworking of the product. So obviously if you are monitoring and regulating the various parameters which affects the quality, obviously it will lead to reduction of the scrap and reworking of the product. It also ensures the effective utilization of available resources, because since various parameters which are to be monitored, it will useful to consider the use of available resources within the limits. If it is not there, then obviously there will not be control on the use of resources. Anybody can use resources at any extent, so it will obviously lead to deterioration of the quality, because there will be more consumption in the resources, and it may happen that the quality of that particular product may affect. So the next is, it facilitates detection of defects during the process. As I already said in the previous slides, that the inspection can be done before the process, within the process, and after the process. So it facilitates the prediction of, we can say, the defects which can be prevented well before it actually happens. So the next objective is to improve the customer producer relationship. Ultimately in any kind of business, the customer satisfaction is very important. So to improve the customer and producer relationship, you need a quality control. Create a quality awareness among the workers and establish the parameters for quality improvements are also considered as the objectives of statistical control. Why? Because workers are the only ones who are going to deal with the complete process of manufacturing, or any kind of service. And even the inspection and regulation and monitoring of various parameters for quality control is to be also handled by the workers. So awareness of workers regarding the quality is very important, and hence the objectives of quality control includes this point also. So let us see the advantages of statistical quality control. Plotting the data as a production proceeds helps in recognizing trends in the quality products. It facilitates the initiation of corrective measures before too many defects are induced. Knowing that the process is under control, this will help to boost the employees' morale and improve the interpersonal relationship. The less variation in the quality improves the market competitiveness. This is also kind of objective of quality control. As the quality increases, output increases, hence efficiency and productivity also increases, and hence the overall cost per piece will obviously get reduced. So these are advantages of statistical quality control. Now very first step in the statistical quality control, we have studied about the collection of data, and then the organization of data by the handling. So statistical data handling is really necessary to study in this regards. So the very first step in quality control is to collect the data and present it in the form for easy understanding and use for desirable purpose. So there are two types of measurements and inspections are used in statistical quality control. The first is inspection by variables, where the actual measurement of specific dimension or feature of the product will be used, or in the second approach, where the inspection by attributes, where the single decision type approach, as yes or no, good or bad, acceptable or unacceptable, this kind of single decision approaches are used. And along with that, number of numerical values obtained except the total number of unacceptable parts in the testing lot can be counted. This is the main difference between two types of measurements or inspection approaches which are used in statistical quality control, and based on this the various charts are we are going to study. So the next part is data representation. Whether the inspection is done by attributes or variables, in any continuous production system, a very large amount of data is actually collected. So the very first step in the quality control is to collect the data and present it in the form of easy understanding and use for desired purpose. So some of such methods are now discussed herewith. So first, data representation can be considered by a tabular form. Let us consider one example here. A group of 20 trainees is being assessed for their technical competence by using some test, we can say. The following table states the marks obtained by trainees assessed every day, presented in order in which they were assessed, say according to their identification number, or we can say the unique ID. So on the first day there were 5 trainees evaluated and the respective marks are written here. So first employee got 35 marks, second employee got 75 marks, third employee got 61 marks, fourth employee got 50 marks, and the fifth employee got 83 marks. So on the first day there were 5 employees who have been assessed. Likewise, in second day, third day, and fourth day, again new 5 employees were assessed, and the respective marks are written here. You can say 82, 48, 71, 58, 75. Then for the third day it is 65, 68, 38, 60, and 78. And for the fourth day it is 41, 76, 56, 69, and 73. So it is considered as the tabular representation of the marks with the sequence at which the trainees were assessed. So now what do we understand from this particular table? Which inferences we can draw out of this table? That if we can compare the day wise marks of employee, we can say if we consider the first day, we can either go for finding out the lowest marks. That means if you consider the 5 employees, lowest marks are 35 and the highest marks are 83 for the first day. If you want to find out the average of first day, you can add the 5 numbers, these 5 numbers, and then you can divide it with divide this summation with 5 to get the average of first day. Similarly, for second day you can find out the lowest mark as 48 and highest mark as 82. Again you can find out the mean or average by considering summation of all these 5 employees divided by 5. Similarly, for day 3 also we can say 38 is the lowest score and 78 is the highest score. For fourth day 41 is the lowest score and we can say 76 is the highest score. Now if I want to analyze the data considering all 4 days, what I have to do is I have to find out the lowest number among the complete observations of all 4 days, and similarly for highest marks also. And if you want to find out the mean or average of this complete 4 days, so what we can do is we can add all the marks for all 4 days and we can divide it with 20. So we can say the summation of all these marks is equal to 1268, which will be divided by 20, because 20 is nothing but the number of workers who have been assessed for 4 days, and hence it is divided by the 1268 is divided by 20 to get the answer as 63.1. So we can say average marks out of the 4 days and the respective assessment is 63.1. So now let us try to study how to calculate various statistical parameters using MS Excel. So as I already said that if you want to do the day wise analysis and if I want to find out the sum, what I'll do is I will just type is equal to sign or symbol, and then just I will select the cell as A2 plus A3 plus A4 plus A5 plus A6, and then I'll say enter. So this will give you summation of all 5 numbers. Now if I want to find out the average, I will select this summation and I will multiply it with 5 to get the answer as 60.8. But now if you want to do it using some direct formulas, you can go to either formulas and then you can take the various functions and you can do the summation. But along with this, there is one more statistical tool which is there in the data. You have to go to the data and you have to go to the data analysis. So in the data analysis, you have to go to the descriptive statistics. You can see various kinds of analysis tools are already available in this toolbox, which includes the ANOVA technique, then correlation, covariance, then the descriptive statistics. You can see Fourier analysis to convert time domain data into frequency domain data, to plot the histogram, moving average, and various even regression you can do it using this particular tool. Rank and percentile also can be calculated, sampling also can be done, various tests such as t-test, z-test are also can be performed using the analysis toolbox or data toolbox. So as of now we want to deal with descriptive statistics. I will say OK, and then it will ask the range, input range. So I will select only these 5 values. Then I'll go to summary statistics and I'll tick on it, and then I'll just say OK. So after few minutes, few seconds, you will find that you got all the values. Like mean of this particular 5 values is shown as 60.8, standard error is shown as 8.5, median is shown as 61, standard deviation is shown as 19.21, sample variance as 369, kurtosis as minus 1.2, skewness as minus 0.27, range as 48, minimum value as 35, maximum value as 83, summation as 304, and count as 5. So count is nothing but how many observations you have selected for calculating all these parameters. So within just one click you will be able to get all the statistical parameters using the data analysis tool pack. So now if I want to find it for all the data, what I'll do is I'll again go to data analysis, I'll select descriptive statistics and I'll select all the values now, and I'll just say OK. So now if you see here, the statistical parameters for each particular column are calculated and are accumulated in the separate sheet, which can be shown here. So this is how you can do it for the multiple columns, or we can say multiple group of Excel sheets, or we can say Excel files also. But then you have to go for the micro programming, or we can say the Visual Basic Code, where the activity which you do it for the single file will be recorded, and then the program will be kept in a loop to repeat some kind of operation. So this is how Excel is used to compute the statistics. So now since we have studied how to deal with the statistical parameters and their computation in Excel, you can use this tool for further analysis whenever it is required. Now when you open the Excel and if you don't find data analysis in the data tab, what you have to do is you have to go to the file, go to the options, then go to add-ins, okay. So after clicking on the add-ins, you will find analysis tool pack here. So you have to select that analysis tool pack and you have to say go, and then you have to select the analysis tool pack from here, which has already been selected, and just say OK. After doing this, the data analysis toolbox will be appeared on the screen. This is how you can install the data analysis toolpack from the Excel. So now let us move on to the second data representation as arrangement of data in ascending or descending order. So the marks obtained by the trainees can be arranged in the following order to clearly show the range of marks as follows. So the marks which we had considered in the previous case were again considered here to arrange the data in ascending or descending order. The ultimate aim is to find out the range of this particular marks. So if you see the data points, or we can say marks, it starts from 41, 82, 83, 48, 50 and so on, which is arranged in very scattered manner. It do not follow any order. So to make the order of this particular data, what we have to do is we have to make a tabular form. If you have Excel, then you can do it by, you can do it directly. But if you don't have Excel, then you have to make a table first, then you have to observe the data. If all the marks are less than 100, so obviously you know that the marks may vary from 0 to 100. Lowest can be 0, maximum can be 100. So we can make a range of data as starting from 0 to 10, 11 to 20, 21 to 30, 31 to 40, 41 to 50 and so on till 90. We get 91 to 100. Why we are doing this? Because since the data is scattered, and if you want to make it in order, if you have some range of the marks within the distribution, it will be easier to place the numbers, and then we will get the order. Either it can be ascending or descending. So let us consider that 35 and 38 belongs to, this is actually wrong. I have to place 35 and 38 in 31 and 40. Please pardon me for this mistake. You can see here 41, 48 and 50 is placed between 41 and 50. 51 and 60, in between 51 and 60, these three numbers are placed, and we can follow the same kind of procedure for remaining values. So after making the tabular form, now we'll be easily able to make the order of these marks in either ascending or descending way. So if you can see here, the marks are arranged in the ascending order, that is 35, 38, 41, 48, 50, 56 and so on. So if you observe the flow of this particular table, it is as same as the ascending order. That is why we need to plot a table with respect to some range, and then we can just accumulate the values with respect to the observations. So what do you understand from this particular order? That this shows that the marks ranges from 35 to 80, that is lowest marks are 35 and highest marks are 83. This also helps to finding out the mean and mode of the data. Now let us do one thing. Let us play with this data using Excel. Again, I'll go to Excel. I have this marks which I have already entered here. I'll just copy and paste it here. And now if you can see, this data has been already arranged with some order. So what I'll do is I'll just rearrange this data, and I'll tell you how to make it in the order, either with ascending or descending. So this is how it can be interchanged, you can say. Okay, so now if I want to order this data with respect to either ascending or descending manner, so I'll just label this particular column as marks, because this is very important when you are sorting out data. So I will select on the mark. I will go to the home. You can see sort and filter here. You can select filter. So you can see this mark which has been displayed over here. So if you select on this particular mark, there are 2-3 options available. You can say sort smallest to largest, say OK, and then you can see the marks are ordered in, or they are rearranged in the ascending order. So again, when you have marks which are arranged in the ascending order, as I already said, it is easier to find out the range, because lowest marks are 35 and highest marks are 83. So with this we can find out the various statistical parameters. Now if I select all the values, and if you see here, the average of this selected values will be displayed as 63.1, the count is 20, and the summation is also displayed here as 1262. So this is how Excel tool can be used for statistical analysis, or we can say statistical computation or analysis of particular data. So now let us move on to the next representation, which is nothing but the frequency distribution. So in statistics, while handling a large amount of data, it is very usual that to divide that data into different cells by dividing the total range into convenient number of subgroups and preparing the tally sheet as shown here. So again, consider the same marks which we have considered for the assessment of trainees. So here the various ranges are labeled with some grades. We can say A grade is labeled for 35 to 45 marks, that is when the marks are between 35 to 45, the grade is considered as A. When it is 46 to 55, when we are considering range from 46 to 55, the grade is B. 56 to 65, grade is C. 66 to 75, grade is D, and last 76 to 85, grade is A. So now if you see the range, it is almost same. It is rather it is same. You can't take the different range for same kind of data, or we can say same kind of interpretation. It is required that the range for all the classes or grade must be same. That is why we can say the range within the value 10 has been selected here. So now the midpoint of this particular range is considered as the optimum marks of the trainees or employees, which can be considered as the average marks. So midpoint for range 35 to 45 is considered as 40. Similarly, for 46 to 55, midpoint is considered as 50, and for the subsequent ranges it is considered as 60, 70 and 80. So now what we have to do is we have to do the tally. How many marks or how many candidates are placed in between marks 35 to 45? If we measure, it is 35 as 1, 38 as 2 and 41 as 3. So I marked three three markers, and similarly we can go for the remaining tally the remaining tally analysis for the other classes. If we count the frequency of tally, for A grade it is 3, for B it is 2, for C it is 5, for D it is 6, and for E it is 4. Now if you see the use of making your data in the ascending order, that when you are making a tally, it will be easier if your data is arranged in ascending order. It will be easier to count the numbers directly by this order, and you can place it according to the tally and the grades. So if we take the multiplication of midpoint and frequency, it will give you the m into f factor, so which will be considered as the average marks scored for the range 35 to 45 or particular grade A. So if we multiply 40 with 3, we will get 120. Similarly, 15 to 2 as 100, 16 to 5 as 300, 17 to 6 as 420, and 80 into 4 as 320. So if we take the summation of all marks which have been scored by all the grades, the summation is 1260. And if we want to find the average score, we have to take the summation and then we have to divide it by total number of candidates. So as we know that total number of candidates were 20, we will that 1260 will be divided by 20, and the average can be calculated as 63. So this is how different approaches are used to analyze the data for same kind of observations which we have done it for the assessment of trainings. So now let us talk for the today's session. The remaining data representation approaches will be resumed in the next session. Till that, you can play around the techniques or the methodologies which I have delivered in this presentation using either by Excel or you can go for any another statistical tool. Thank you so much.